Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. Do we have a trick or a treat for this weekend's 10 times shard pool event? So let's spell it out for you guys. We know there is a Halloween fusion which is probably going to start towards the end of next week. Okay? Every single fusion that has come before has needed you to have shards for a champion chase event and for a summon rush. Okay? We also know that a 10 times is a poor time to pull shards compared to a 2 times event where you get double the odds of actually pulling a legendary champion. So what's playing in there like that? How do we make sure we get our money back for this event? And they're going to give us a guaranteed champion for void shards, which is a pretty juicy champion. So let me get the info up here. So basically, we've got a normal 10 times going on. And then if you were to pull 30 void shards, okay? I mean, to put it into perspective here, I pulled void shards the last summon rush when I was trying to get Demetia before I realized that they did me dirty on the champion chase or the other way around. Yeah, so a few weeks ago, I pulled shards, all of them pretty much. Since then, I've gained 5 voids on the free-to-play. So pretty much, unless you've been saving for a while or you're someone who's happy to throw money at the game, to get to 30 void shards and to use them outside of a fusion is kind of unlikely. But if you can, the champion up for grabs is, I mean, basically still one of the best arena champions in the game. There's other options now, and you know the game's progressed a bit. And maybe if you're playing properly, like top-end plat arena, she's less important. But for the average Joe, Madame Cerise is about as good as they get for an arena decreased defense champion. She's also one of only, I think, 3 champions in the whole game where she'll put 100% chance to place decreased defense without any books. It's massive, actually. If you think about that for a second, one of the most recent champions in that fusion, Tylesia, is one of the other ones. Yeah, it's very rare to get an epic that doesn't have this kind of whole list of 18 books to try and get the decreased defense to land. So it's actually massive, and she places decreased attack with the same skill. So don't write that off around a kit. But why is she so good? Because she cleans off all of the buffs, all of those nasty buffs in Doom Tower, in the arena, in Faction Wars. When you got that whole kind of wave of Valks or Cephis or all that sort of stuff, she's like that. I know what I'll do. I'll clear all of that off, and then I'm going to replace it with 2 of the best debuffs in the game for general content. Yeah, decreased defense and attack. You're reducing pretty much everybody's damage in the game, one way or another, unless you're an HP-based champion. And you're also making it easier to kill your enemies with the decreased defense. So, Madame Cerise, this is what she's about, by the way. Our other 2 skills are okay. They're okay. Our A2's annoying at times. Honestly, with the A2, I mean, it's actually kind of cool as well. It's an AoE, 50% if you book it, chance to steal a buff. And you kind of do need to steal a buff. Because if you do, you get block debuffs on your whole team for 2 turns. And that's where it gets sexy. Block debuffs is a brilliant, brilliant buff. But it's situational to land here. Places a true fear on any enemy where she's stolen a buff. So this is kind of annoying. We're not true fears like. If it's going in your favor, it's like that. 50% feels like more like 20%. If it's in their favor, feels more like 100%. So yeah, Madame with this true fear mechanic is also pretty good on the A2. And the A1, she kind of got a chance to fear, and anything she does, she gets, or any turn she takes, she gets a shield as well. So all sorts of good going on with Madame. 30 void shards is a lot. If you've got them and you don't have Madame, I'd say potentially it's worth it, but do take into account we've got the fusion coming up. We haven't had all the details for that yet. So that's the kind of guaranteed champion shard. Let's go through the basic champions now on the 10 times. I would say there's 2 brilliant champions here. On the face of it, though, the rest of it is a little bit rubbish. Okay, so the first one, if the screen looks a bit laggy, by the way, I think it's Raid. I don't think it's my PC. I think Raid, since their update's just a bit laggy. See this kind of blurriness. I think they put it on like a new Unity. And I don't know if everyone else is finding this, but I just feel like it's kind of lagging around a bit. Masked Fearmonger is the first one on the list. One of the Halloween champs. Got some turn meter control A1. Has got a fear and kind of an interesting A2. So 100% if you book it, chance of placing true fear on 2 enemies for 1 turn if you kill someone. And you can kill people with this move. It's quite a hard hitting move. I don't know. This guy for me is pretty bang average. Pretty much bang average. Bit of ignore defense here. It's all single target stuff. Yeah, I wouldn't be going out of my way to get myself a Masked Fearmonger. I don't see him played at all. It's not really great for faction wars. He's pretty much an arena champion who is just nowhere near as good as most of the arena champions. Okay, next one up is Cornelia. So she was part of the recent fusion. Interesting champion. I've not seen too much with her being played at any kind of high-end teams or anything like that. But she does have an interesting A2 mechanic. 100% chance to sleep all enemies for 1 turn. And a passive here whenever an enemy loses the sleep. So when you wake them up, or when they wake themselves up, 50% chance to put a fear out there on top. And then also places sleep buff on an ally, heals that ally by 50% and fills their turn meter when it gets removed. So if you know some damage is coming at you, you can actually sleep someone and push them forward in the turn order and basically give them a massive heal. It's pretty cool, actually. But yeah, it's pretty cool. She's got a nice speed aura as well. Very fast, good base stats. Kind of interesting champion. I'm still not really sure where you use her to her full effect, but certainly an interesting mechanic. Okay, next one up is going to be another one. It's relatively new champion. Did he come at the same time? Maybe the same time as Cornelia, I think. Or maybe the set before that. But anyway, Mr. Candles. Certainly wouldn't want to invite him around your house for a party. You never know if he's going to set the place alight. This guy, straight trash. Doesn't hit particularly hard. Got a decreased attack A1. It's okay. AoE heal reduction. Not really sure where it's viable. Strengthen and shield on his A3. But weak source strengthen. Immune to fear and true fear. This is kind of cool, I guess. In certain content. But I never see him used at all. I wouldn't go out my way to pull shards for the Gravedigger. So the last of the epics, actually a decent champion. I've got him on my free-to-play. I will be building him out. Specifically great for Arena or Doom Tower. Doom Tower waves, generally. So what's so good about him? Well, he's got a decent A1. Attacks one enemy. 50% chance of decreasing the duration of a buff. It's okay. Every time an enemy places a debuff on an ally, he uses the A1 against that enemy. Yeah, so he can just get pumping some A1s out. These counterattacks will only deal 50% normal damage and can't be crits. So it's not a crazy hit, but it's okay. The A2 is where all of his damage comes from. Triple hit, ignores 25% of the target's defense. Ignores more defense for each buff on this champion. So literally you get a couple of buffs on him. He's one-shotting anyone in the game. Places true fear on all enemies for a turn when he kills someone. Yeah, it's like this skill here is what makes him amazing. And it does a lot of damage. And then also this here, whenever an ally receives fear or true fear debuff from an enemy, this skill will instantly remove it. There's no cooldown on this and fill that ally's turn meter. So where you've got a load of fears or true fears coming at you, basically he's just pumping your turn meter. You can't be feared. It's really cool, actually. Good speed, good damage, nice aura. And yeah, often used as a kind of single target, like a Duchess killer or someone like that. But also to throw out the true fear debuff on the enemy. Really good against Mashal, because obviously you're not being feared up. So yeah, generally a pretty cool Void epic. Now, if you're pulling for Madame and you get him, great. But I wouldn't go out of my way to pull for him during this event, knowing what's coming. Okay, let's go on to the legendary champions. First one up. Mr. Underrated himself. I talked about this guy a lot. There's just so much going on in his kit. He increases his own defense, puts fears on all enemies, places true fear for enemies on targets under block damage, yeah, and places decreased speed for anyone under shield. That's kind of a bit situational, but they can't be resisted, which is cool. Also places provoke on legendary champions. The A3 is okay, right? The true fear is nice. But it's the A2 where he gets really sexy. So Kind of want someone else in the team or a couple of other people in the team to place debuffs before he goes. Places an extra hit for each buff or debuff on the target. So as long as there's 3 debuffs on the target or buffs, he's going to be hitting 6 times with this A2. It's one of the hardest hitting abilities in the game for a single target hit. Places HP burn and True Fear on all enemies if he places the full 3 extra hits. Yeah, steals all buffs from the target after the attack. It's mainly the fact that you get a full HP burn spread against all your enemies. So he becomes really good in Doom Tower, really good against Spider. And generally, actually, any kind of level 21 to 25 stuff, HP burn on an AoE is the wave killer if you don't have Sear or Poison Explosions going on. So, also got a passive against legendary champions, which is kind of cool. But yeah, Elder Scarred, underrated, and actually only got better since the contents got harder. Next one up, I don't really know what to say about this guy. Honestly, he's got to be up there now or down there now as one of the worst legendary champions in the game for me. So it's just a whole bunch of trash on his kits. Doesn't really know where he fits in the game. It's all about turn meter control if there's fears and true fears and stuff going off. 92 speed for a legendary champion. May as well be sitting in the park. He's never getting a turn. Absolute trash. Would definitely not be pulling shards to try and get him. Next one up, though. So this is where we come to the 2 which are actually really good. So Mashold as a legendary. Look, we're on a 10 times. A 10 times on normal champions is very unlikely you're going to get that champion. That's where we're at, okay? 10 times on normal legendaries is unlikely that he's going to come out the shard, but he may do. Don't get your hopes up, but he is awesome. Yeah, I just did a takeover last night on an Undead Horde faction Crypt 21. He's one of the MVPs of the faction, albeit Vodorf kind of outshone him a little bit. But he does bring you increased speed, increased crit damage, True Fear AoE, Leech AoE. It's just such a good A2. Only takes 1 book to get this to a 3-turn cooldown. And because he gets an extra turn, it's the equivalent of it being on a 2-turn cooldown. It means you can keep increased speed up on your whole team forever, for the whole time. So this makes him absolutely beast mode. He then hits really hard with this A3. Yeah, it's an absolute nuke. And at the same time, he steals all buffs away from the person he's about to attack and smacks them. Yeah. Damage increases if they got no buffs. So he just absolutely smacks on this A3. I actually used him against the Valk Wave in Faction Wars. Rips that counterattack, rips off the shield, smacks the Valks in the face, down they go. Really good. And his A1 is equally good. Like, as long as you've done your A2 first, you get AoE Leech out there. He then attacks all enemies under Leech. And what's cool about this is all of the attacks are as if they're not an AoE hit, but all A1 hits. Yeah, all single target hits. It means that things like Stalwart Gear doesn't weaken the blow. It also means that if you've got turn meter decrease in your masteries, it will do the 20% instead of the 5%. It's actually really big. And you just get tons more damage through books here. So Mashold is an absolute beast. Definitely worthy of a shard or 2, albeit I wouldn't pull shards. Yeah, if you're going to anyway, he is actually solid to get. And then the last one, an interesting champion this. So the Aureus, I mean, he's a fantastic champion. Does a ton of damage. He's like Skull Crown 5.0, basically. So he's got that passive like Skull Crown. Instantly places unkillable buff if he was going to be killed. Yeah, which is not just cool. It's just a cool passive. But also, his damage increases as he loses health. So they get him low. He can't die unless someone hits through the unkillable thing or takes it away. And he's got basically 100% more damage. And then he unleashes this bad boy. 100% more damage on an AoE, which also can place True Fear and Weaken. The Weaken hits before he does his damage, which means he just straight up does 25% more damage. He's got another AoE here, which I think is the harder hit of the 2. But basically, for your nuclear, you kind of want 2 AoE hits. Like Trunders, yeah. Like Robar now. The double AoE is where it's at, because often there's just something that stays alive. Some reason that they stay alive. And to rotate all the way back to your AoE when you've got just one, it's quite hard to do. So this is nice. Another passive here, immune to pretty much all of the crap in the game. Stuns, freezes, sleeps, whatever. Just immune to it. Very cool. And then his A1 does do a drop defense as well, which makes him really viable for clan boss unkillable teams because he brings weaken and decreased defense, and he smacks really hard. Good base speed, good attack, great multipliers. The Aureus is a fantastic void champion. If you're trying to pull for Madame anyway, then you know what? Good luck. Get the Aureus as well. You're going to be happy with that. But there you go, guys. So, trick or treat? I would go with trick because they're trying to trick you into using all your resources before the fusion starts. But if you want to do it anyway, enjoy yourself. It's only a game. I've been Hell Hades. I will see you later.